Alright, what's up, gang? So, right now I'm just chilling. Earlier I took my babies to the Strawberry Festival. I got to thinking about like earlier how in my childhood certain things used to be so exciting to me. And it's like now as an adult, I guess now that I'm like more aware and stuff like that, just, I don't know, just certain things don't seem as exciting as they used to. And that made me think about like on this spiritual journey, how like when we're traumatized or we are like unhealed or undeveloped in certain areas, how certain things will excite us. And when we do heal and we evolve and grow and stuff like that, it's like certain things don't even really appeal to us the same way anymore. So that's proof that you've grown. If certain things in your life just don't excite you how they used to, certain things don't rile you up or anger you how they used to, that's a sign that you've grown. But I was scrolling on my TikTok or whatever, and I came across some videos of, and I'm pretty sure y'all have too, especially if y'all's algorithm is set up like mine, but videos of how people have gone from like regular jobs to like making a whole lot of money. One of the videos in particular stuck out to me, and she was mentioning how she's on God's payroll, and she gets her riches basically through God. Instead of like opening up a business or doing this and doing that, it's just like, what can I do that is within the will of God that would generate lots of money, because she had mentioned, which is something I've known, and I made a video about this before, but God is not the only God that blesses. Y'all, I'm looking at my eyes. I don't know if y'all see what I see. I don't know if I have something in my eyes or if it's like a glare. I don't know if y'all can see what I see. But anyways, but yeah, she's mentioning that God isn't the only God that blesses or whatever. And a lot of people, they could be making a lot of money, very successful, but they're not within the will of God. And I feel like that's the most terrifying thing that you could do, because if you're getting a lot of money, you're not within the will of God. One, your blessings are not from God. And on top of that, it's likely to fail, because if it's not based on God and His love and His principles and His morals and His statutes, it's not stable. If it ain't God, it's not stable. So while we're on our path to wanting to generate lots of riches, while we're on our path of healing, while we're on our path of dating or whatever it is, we have to make sure we're within the will of God. And that has never really been something I even thought to pray of. This whole time I'm like, oh, I want to make more money. I want to get away from my job. But I never mentioned I want to make more money within the will of God. Mama, I want to open up a business. That's the big ego. Yeah, I want to open up a business that's within the will of God. I know I wanted to like share God's messages and stuff like that, and uplift and encourage people, teach people, help people heal and stuff. But that's very specific. Not only do I want to generate a luxurious life, a beautiful life for myself and my babies, but I want it all to be within the will of God. Yeah, so while we're on our path of hustling, we just have to make sure that we're on the right path. That's not only aligned with us, but that aligns with who we are and what we already naturally do. Once again, like that video that I mentioned to y'all, our purpose is not something we go out there and, find. Our purpose is something that's already integrated within us. It's something that we already do. It's something that we're already doing on our job. Maybe when you walk into your job or whatever, you light up everybody's day. Or maybe when you go on your job, people open up to you. Or maybe when you go on your job, people look to you for support or guidance or advice. There it is. And then we just have to hone in on that and pray for God to help us to tap into that gift, to where we can generate an income off of it, so that way we can create a beautiful life for ourselves, but we are also within the will of God, doing what it is that we are naturally already doing, you know. So yeah, whatever you're gonna do, just make sure it's within the will of God, because that is what's going to be stable. That's what's going to be long term. That's what's going to give you the most clarity, the most peace. That's what's going to be the most aligned with you, if it is within the will of God. Meaning God approves of it. God gives you his stamp of approval. God is giving you the green light, and this is what he wants for you. You know, versus us just jumping and doing something, you know. And I got that bad. I got that real bad, just jumping and doing stuff. But getting confirmation from God and knowing that what you're doing for a living and making a lot of money off, God is smiling down on you, to know that, that feeling is just priceless, you know. So yeah, we're just, our goals, they need to align with the will of God. And that's really just to secure the business, you know, to secure the longevity of it, you know. But I hope y'all are doing well. Also, that was another thing that had popped up in my mind. How sometimes it's easy for us to compare ourselves, because honestly, y'all, sometimes I do compare myself to other creators on here who are making like a shitload of money. And it dawned on me, like, damn, with that video that I watched or whatever about doing things that are within the will of God, I'm like, yeah, they may be making a lot of money, but they might not be within the will of God. What? Mm-hmm. But they might not be in the will of God. I don't know what they have going on behind closed doors. I don't know which God they're being blessed from, you know. So we have to make sure that we're not, you know, I feel like it's good to compare yourself in a way to where it's just like, oh, I could do better, or I could do that, you know, in an inspiring way. But as far as like a way of like beating yourself up, it's because, one, you don't know if those people are within the will of God, or if they've done something secretly to, you know, you don't know which God is actually blessing them. And also, like I told y'all before, with me delivering or whatever, I found out that the grass that I have always wanted all this time, that's like really, really vibrant green, it's not real. It's not real. I found out the real grass in the country is like a dark type of brown, like grayish, kind of like, you know. But baby, please stop. Go back out there and play, because you getting my seats back dirty. Go play. But I
need that toy.
Get it, Eliana. But yeah, so we have to make sure we're not comparing ourselves in a negative way. I feel like it's good to kind of size up another person who's doing well to yourself, to, you know, cause that to mirror to yourself how well you could be doing in a good way. But as far as beating yourself up over how another person's life is going, not only do you know if they're within the will of God, but you also don't know what's going on behind closed doors. And also, you don't know if that's, you know, if it's just a flodge or not, you know. Because once again, in the country, I've been choosing fake grass over real, authentic, natural, healthy grass this whole time, you know. So your so-called struggle, or your 9 to 5, or your smaller income, it's real, it's authentic, it's straight out of the mud, compared to a person who maybe they have, you know, faked their way to the top, or they could just be pretending that they have that much, or they may not have gained it in an honest way, you know, or at least within the will of God. So just, we gotta cut ourselves some slack, and, you know, just always know the grass is not always green on the other side. Sometimes that shit is fucking fake, you know, and sometimes it's also not from God, you know, the good God. But anyways, I love y'all, and just focus on what you already naturally do. Maybe you're naturally funny, maybe you naturally inspire people, maybe you naturally comfort people. Hone in on that, you know, and then pray for God to help you generate an income off of that and be within his will. Okay?